Welcome to a podcast on marketing. I'm your host, Jordan Ogren, and this is a podcast where we talk about marketing. So the first question of the day, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, hey Jordan. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Dragos. I'm a brand strategist and I help people understand their clients
How
and
long have
clarify
you
what
been
they do.
kind of doing your own thing, right? You run your consulting practice yourself, or do you work for somebody?
Oh
Wow.
gosh, forever. I started freelancing back in high school
Wow.
and never looked back. I mean, I tried the job here and
Hmm.
there, but
So this has been a
that
long
wasn't for
time.
me.
You're not
So
not just jumping on the
I kept going.
bandwagon of kind of freelancers or working wherever. Wow. So in high school, did it look like this, or were you doing different freelance?
Oh, no. Just I was
Hmm.
messing around
Okay.
with graphic design back then. Uh, I kept growing doing that, then switched to brand strategy when I had enough of pixel pushing
Okay, that's cool that
and
you
order
come from a
taking.
background of kind of design graphic. I think that plays hand in hand with kind of brand marketing, and we'll obviously jump into all sorts of that later on. But I have a few questions that I like to just open with. First question is, what is marketing? How do you define it? What is the job? So you can obviously take it to brand marketing, but just in general, how do you define marketing? Yeah,
Oh,
softball
you're going
question
for
though.
the kill. Yeah, that's okay. Well, marketing is going out there, finding the people that need you, and
Mm.
telling them what to do. Put short, without going into
As simple as it gets,
philosophical
right?
debate. it, it has to be simple because we complicate everything today. I mean, branding, marketing, everything is filled with jargon and made up terms just to be original. So
Yeah.
just let's get back to the basis.
Yeah, and
Do
that's
the
a lot
essentials
of your
first.
content. Just as I've kind of, I don't know if I've been connected that long with you, but since the time I've been connected with you, a lot of your content is really on that, kind of just doing the basics first. And one of the ones that I kind of popped out to me was just how you kind of had a post, I think it was either today, yesterday, recently, that like branding isn't the answer, and kind of just talking about how there could be other things that you should do. Yeah, can you speak to that? Like
Oh, for sure.
why isn't branding always the answer? Like why shouldn't a company focus on branding?
There are a lot of reasons. For starters, if it's a brand new business, just go out there and find your first client. Stop worrying about your visual identity and just
Hmm.
make sure there's a product market fit and there's a big enough market for you to make a profit and be sustainable. We can go into branding, but a young business, sometimes it's difficult to do branding actually because they still discovering
Hmm.
themselves and what they want to do. I mean, okay, it most of the time it starts with a frustration or a goal of the owner. Come on, I know I can do things differently, or I'm sick of this. I'm gonna quit my job and do it better. But and there are cases when branding isn't really needed. The business is doing great. The ownership doesn't want more than that. They're happy with what they have because there's this insane chase after growth. We need to grow and grow and grow till when?
So
Come on,
yeah.
let's enjoy life.
So we're on the
Pause the business
moon.
for a bit. So if your business is doing great, yeah, it's a local business and people, everyone in the town knows about you and they come
Hmm.
to you. So what's the need for branding?
Okay.
Your brand
So
is already done.
yeah, no, I like that. I think it's definitely something we can get caught in. And you had a post about like a logo, or like just type your name and
Oh,
like use your font. Like
yeah.
that's super critical, because I do think sometimes people can just fret and just think way too
They
much
get
on like
stuck in.
rather than, to your point, doing the work, going out and actually seeing if my skills, if I'm a freelancer, or if my company product services are actually do people actually want them? Focus on that first and kind of learning in those things rather than spending either tons of money or time kind of trying to nail the logo or your color palette or whatever it is per se.
Oh,
There's
don't get
more
me started
important.
on color palettes.
Why? Are you not a fan of color palettes, or what is your
I am
thought
a
on it?
fan, but I mean, people give too much importance to these details.
Sure, sure, which goes
Just
into the whole
yeah,
premise.
pick a color and stick to it. Don't do a rainbow. Don't do like I feel like doing it blue today. You know?
Yeah, right. Whatever I wake up feeling, just stick to it. No, that's good. So, you talk a lot about kind of, I don't know if it's avoiding fluff or turning fluff into concrete, but how do you define fluff in marketing, in branding? Like, what is fluff? How do you define that?
Oh, exactly what we talked about at the beginning, you know? Just jargon and oh, let's take this simple thing and make it sound complex and give it a new name so we look unique as an agency. Come on, cut the crap.
Okay.
Our goal here is to serve our clients and make their lives easier, not complicate them.
Hmm.
Uh, They don't have to learn our terminology. And
So
it's
crap could
complex
be
enough.
synonymous with fluff, just cut the crap, just
Yeah,
speak in plain
exactly.
terms. What other than maybe, some psychological we want to, appear more intelligent, like what are some reasons people slip into the fluff trap? Is there anything that comes off that you've worked with clients with, or you just see that as a reason people slip into this mode of putting out fluff or doing fluff branding
Uh,
marketing?
Some just try to be unique, and that's not the way to do it, if you ask me. And others just want to sound smarter than they are.
So so do we not want to be unique as a company, or how do you think about being, unique, or you say don't try to be unique?
No, absolutely not. We need to differentiate ourselves, but let's not do that through I don't know, surface level things. Let's
Hmm.
really make a difference. You know, and invent new words that create confusion for our clients. It's crazy.
Okay.
Marketing and branding is everything about them is about clarity and a clear message and exactly what you do. But when it comes to explaining what branding and marketing is, it's a convoluted mess.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's a good way. That's a good way to put it. So, how do you define the dichotomy of good marketing, good branding, bad branding? Obviously, you could argue right back that, they're just words and we put connotations to them, bad and good, but how do you look at something and say this is well done in the realm of marketing and branding?
It's applicable and it gets desired results. Especially in branding, we can get caught up in big words and strategy that aren't anything else but goals with no actionable steps. You know, and we
Hmm.
have this PDF document of I don't know 50 pages of information and customer profiles, and at the end of it, if the only question you want to avoid is okay, what now? If there's
Hmm.
that question, you miss the mark.
Okay. And then bad marketing would be counter to that, is it doesn't get your desired results. It isn't applicable, aka it's complex, it's fluff, it's using words just to use them, all the things you've been kind of saying. Is there any other ways that you look at marketing or branding and you say, ooh, that's bad, quote unquote?
Specific examples would be companies that talk about themselves. That's always bad. You know,
Sure.
me,
Uh-huh. Focusing on
or
your
that
your company.
have no idea who their audience really is.
Hmm. So it's a generic message or whatever the
Yeah,
marketing is. It's quite generic because it's
exactly.
almost
Yeah,
to everyone rather than to a
yeah.
specific
We're
person.
targeting everyone that breathes and has money. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sherlock.
So, do you ever help companies think through, or have you ever thought through how do I define, call it ICP, call it persona, call it target market? Like, how do you go about defining or figuring that out?
Oh, that's funny because most of the time people think that it's tons and tons of research, and it is a lot of research, but most of the times the information is stuck in the owner's head or the leadership, depends on how big the business is. If they have CEOs, CFOs, whatever, yes, they know who they're dealing with, but being caught up in the daily grind, they completely miss it, you know? they,
Hmm.
they need someone like me to come in, facilitate, and extract that information. Because otherwise, everyone would sound the same because we're targeting, I don't know, CFOs. Okay, but not all CFOs are the same. Who are your CFOs, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah.
I yeah, sorry, if I went there and did research for three companies, I would probably come up with the same answer if I didn't have their information. You
Hmm.
know, I didn't extract the owner's thoughts.
From the leader or leadership team
Yeah, exactly.
brain per se. So how do you so you get that information, they say CFOs, they start talking, how do you formulate, because obviously there's the demographics or like the positions which you're kind of talking about are kind of a start. How do you get more to whether it's a psychographics or more into like going deeper than just a CFO? Like how do you go about that? Does it resemble the leader? Do you look at past customers? Okay, we have these 10 CFOs. What's similar within them and how they think, how they talk, or how do you go about kind of digging deeper once you get a position?
It, it starts with past customers,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to extract as much as possible because once you have a client or two or three or 10, you know more or less who you want to work with and who's your ideal client that makes gives you pleasure to work with, you know, because it doesn't have to be a pain doing
Hmm.
business. So we take the past customers and see what their ideal client would look like and go out and find them.
Hmm.
Interview their past clients, see their side of
Okay.
the story. And
Yeah, because it'll be
that's
different
always
for
tricky
sure.
because oh, but what will they say? What if they don't have time? Come on, let's just try it. The worst we can get is a no.
Yeah, no, I agree that talking to customers, you get a different side. Obviously, talking to that leadership team, you'll get some information, but it's only 60,
Yeah.
70, whatever percent of the pie going to those customers and actually talking to them. We're like, yeah, John's just my friend, and that's why I do business with him. Okay, well, we probably shouldn't include you too much in our kind of ideal customer
Exactly.
because
And you
it's
probably
just
should have been doing business with John.
True. True. That's good. That's good. Okay. I like that. So why so we talked a lot about maybe, what matters more than brand or things you should nail first. Why do branding? Why does branding matter and how does it help?
Ooh, that's a lot to unpack here.
Start where you want and we'll make sure to eat it we'll eat
Yeah,
it all.
sure. Well, it works on both fronts, also from a client perspective or marketing perspective and internally, because most of the times I get the leadership together and they have no idea what the others are doing. And the sales leader has totally different goals and activities and personas than the marketing leader. This is crazy because they're not pulling the same direction.
Hmm.
And just planting them, tying them to a chair for a few hours. Come on, let's talk about your customers and find the common denominator there because I'm hearing different stories from every one of you.
Hmm. So is
Yeah.
branding, I think, like, obviously for me, someone who's not super in the brand, like I think of, the kind of maybe simple or easy things of brand, like font, the way your voice, whether it's like a company, what's the voice of a company, that's kind of like their brand. How do you define brand? Like what are all the components that are included in a brand, or is it like everything that a company kind of does that's in the brand? How do you think about that kind of what's in
Uh,
brand?
Here, there's an issue of definitions here, I think, because brand, in my mind, is what the customer thinks of you. It's
Mm.
what they say, not what you say. You know? Uh,
Okay.
and what we do is, I like to call it branding, is the our desperate try to influence their opinion of us. It sounds, nah, I don't know, it sounds bad because it sounds almost like lying, but it's not. It's just saying the information in a way that resonates with them.
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
way you speak and what you say and how you
Yeah,
look.
that makes sense. I don't know whose quote it is, but someone's like, your brand is what people say when you're not in the room, or something akin
Yeah,
to
I
that.
think it's Martin Neumeyer. Yeah,
Okay, so
but
and do you agree with that, or is that
yeah, for sure. It's like
would
that friendly ghosty behind your back.
which goes to your point that it's only so much controllable by the company. Like, as much as it's our brand, we can't just change that
Yeah, okay.
tomorrow by saying
And
whatever.
we can only
You're
do
kind
so
of
much.
Yeah, and you're kind of saying, it's more or less, call it whatever you want, but it's manipulating the perceptions of people of what they have of you to align more. So it's like, we want our customers to say X, Y, or Z. Right now they're saying D, B, and A. How do we
Yeah,
move from that to here? Or are we okay with D? Are we okay with one of those, and kind of figuring that out? So clearly it's
exactly.
essential to talk to customers, or at least to know what is their current perception of us. Is that something that is good to do as a company, to find out like what is our brand, not just from what we say, but what actual
Uh,
customers are?
it's not only good; it's essential to do it. It's sometimes easier, sometimes harder. I don't know. If we look at SaaS companies, for example, and they have tons of online reviews, well, that's easy. But if you're talking about the service
Mm.
business, good luck with that, especially if they're serving corporate.
Mm. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Easy with reviews, or even a restaurant per se. You can quickly go through kind
Yeah.
of Yelp, or whatever the service is, where for service or small companies, it's a little bit harder, more maybe qualitative. You're not able to get a huge set of data points. That's good. One thing that I like to ask people on this podcast, just to see what their answer is what is a strong held belief you have about marketing and branding? What is a hill that you're willing to die on in the realms of kind of marketing, branding, that you heavily and deeply believe in?
We need to cut the crap. Like right now.
So kind
That's
of,
why I'm
yeah.
doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
That's great. And obviously that answer was, in a lot of the content about the getting rid of the fluff and stuff. And that's, one of your, I'd say, part of your brand, right? Is you're someone who tries to create
Yep.
content and help clients cut through the fluff and crap. That's a good hill to die on. What is something you hear other people, marketers, consultants in the branding marketing space talk about, that you maybe disagree with, or you have a little different opinion on, or different thoughts on? Is there anything that comes to mind that you kind of disagree with the majority, or with other people like you on?
Oh yes. First thing that comes probably a lot, but the first thing that comes to mind is Simon Sinek's "Start with Why." I find it a
Mm.
total bullshit. As people don't care why you do it, they care what you can
Mm.
do for them.
Mm. Dig deeper on that. So
Why
you
you do
don't
it is
think it's
important for internal alignment, and that's it. You know
mm.
what
So
motivates
it's
us to get out of bed today and serve our clients. But they
but
don't care why you get out of bed.
it, they just care you get out of bed and get to the
Yeah,
store, or whatever it is to deliver.
and
Okay.
do your job well.
I like that. So you don't think that, you kind of said it's maybe important internally, but you don't think, a lot of people say I don't want to even name anything, but they'll say, you got to put on your website your why, because people buy your why and whatever. You disagree with
There are
that people.
exactly. There are very few purpose-driven businesses that did this successfully.
Hmm. So we're trying to mimic a quote unquote failed model that's worked for 2-3% of all companies, just
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
hard to get people to actually buy from you. Why? I'm going to buy what you do, and sometimes it's going to be based off deals and price and just different things. Or if I like what you do, but it's not. Okay, so the why is less important, and that's something that's huge. I hear that all the time. You see his Simon's circles, concentric circle drawing video
And
everywhere on
quotes.
LinkedIn. So is there anything else? I
Yeah.
love kind of contrarian opinions and differing thoughts. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you kind of disagree with, or even violently disagree with?
In general, I think marketing authors and gurus quoting them. They speak from mostly come from a corporate background. They served as marketers in big corporations, and then startups and small businesses come and try to apply what they teach, and it simply doesn't work. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the resources to apply that.
They need someone from their background.
And that gets us on my nerves because it gets passed around as the silver bullet most of the time. Far from it. They don't have $1 million to put in Facebook ads. So stop it.
or create daily content, Gary Vee, and all those.
Dance on TikTok and.
Yep. Put it on every platform, be on everywhere. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think one thing that I preach to my 15 people who listen to me is kind of just to improve how you think about things. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm more or less here to kind of improve or make you think better on how to do things, because that's kind of like you have a problem, you have something in marketing or just in your business and you want to apply some thinking to it. You don't want to just throw a hammer at everything. If it's a leaky sink, you don't want to throw the hammer at it. It just will leak more water. So I get what you're saying and definitely agree. There's a lot of people who blast their message as a silver bullet, or people run with it and say that it's a silver bullet, which is not good at all. That's
even more dangerous.
Right. So this could be something similar to the 2 points or the thing you just said, but what is something you believe that few others believe, that you kind of, you routinely say maybe, and you just don't get many head nods, but you believe that whatever it is, even though others don't totally believe it with you?
I don't know how many people believe it, but there's still a few or a considerate number that don't. That branding is more or less emotional. We're emotional beings and we act on emotion. No matter how much the leadership wants to believe that their features are unique, people don't care. For example, we could buy any car. Any car would serve our purpose, would get us from point A to point B safely, more or less. But it would get us there, to the destination. We pick what we pick based on emotions because we want to feel good about that car. We like it. It makes us feel something.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm in that small camp that I definitely agree. Many of our decisions are based off emotions or even just quote unquote signaling. I get the Tesla because I work for a startup and I want to be a startup bro, which is baked in emotions, right? There's an insecurity in there. There's a lot in there that you can't just say we drive fast or cars faster. Feeds and speeds can only sell so much because everybody can duplicate that, but they can't duplicate maybe the emotions you derive from your prospects, from your customers, or the way you talk is something only you kind of own, and they can't mimic that, or if they do, it'll be not authentic. So yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it's heavily emotion based. I think only we're moving further in that direction as we move through society. Not that I think society is getting softer, quote unquote, but it just is getting more in touch with our emotions, which sooner or later these 16-year-olds will be 35-year-olds making, family buying decisions or whatever. So you have to position yourself or start to realize the future, if it isn't already, is emotional selling to emotions, not features and all those things that you started with. One question. Go on.
Yeah, sorry, I need to add this. On the other extreme is just going all in on the emotions and forgetting everything else, because the emotions attract and they get people through the door, but then you will need the benefits and features to seal the deal.
It's not just
just keep a balance. Don't throw head first in the water.
No, that's good. So what you're kind of saying is we first think with our emotions, which gets me in the door, gets me on your webpage or whatever, but then I can kick in that rational, that systems to thinking of like, okay, do I want to make this purchase? What are the reasons I do it? And that's in the benefits, the features, and kind of those things, but don't lead with them is maybe the pull out
Yeah, because it'll
message,
be
but
boring.
yeah, and nobody will really, you won't get many people's attention unless it's someone who is dying in the red to solve the problem and the features and benefits speak to them, which is rarely most customers. We need to be kind of sometimes told like, oh, I can do it better. I didn't even know, thanks for providing me that, emotional message. And now what is the features and benefits that provide that for me? That's good. I
Yeah.
like that. That's an important
Yeah,
act. Don't get examples. We love them.
Yeah, for example, speaking of examples, for example, let's look at Slack, the way they began, because they changed their message. I hate Slack, but I love what they did when they reinvented and they created a new category. They basically, I don't remember the exact word, but this was more or less that we kill email, and we're here to replace email. And that got a strong response from people. It got them curious. Okay, let's see what this is about. Yeah, come on, it was just another chat thing. Nothing more, nothing less. But they knew how to market it.
Yeah, no, I like that. And you could even argue that's somewhat, I don't want to say category creating, but they're creating, category of where, the next of email, rather than like you're just saying we're kind of, if you say literally what you are, it's kind of boring. It's like, okay, you're just a chat thing, but you're saying, hey, we're the future of whatever. But obviously don't use that. The future of is everybody uses that kind of terminology. We're the future of
An
whatever.
innovative platform.
Yes, no, I like that. So
Reinventing the team chat.
the wheel, yeah. You start to the competitive advantage for X or Y. Yeah, sometimes as you go to enough websites, you start to see common themes. But one question I have, which is kind of on branding, a topic on branding, is rebranding. Like, what is rebranding? I mean, obviously, like, I think I know the answer, but like, how do you define rebranding, and when is it needed, or when should you do it?
Oh, rebranding comes as a response to a huge shift in the business model. From my perspective, it's not a new logo, it's not a new website. Something big happened. There's a shift in the market. You need to change your audience, you need to change your products. And then it's basically starting over.
So it's
Just
deeper.
using some of the heritage of the experience of the former company, but it needs to be a
Starting
big
over.
changes.
Okay, that's good, because I think if you ask most people, rebranding instantly comes to mind is the logo, the colors,
Yeah,
the website.
that's
But
just the visual identity.
you're
But the
saying it's
message is the same,
deeper.
just the logo is different, the audience is the same, everything is the same, just the logo changes. So how is it a rebrand?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's the easier option than to do maybe what you're saying of
Yeah.
going to the roots and rerouting to say, hey, we're different now. We need to go to the roots and change that. And then obviously, if that leads up to say our logo doesn't speak to our new roots, then let's change it, rather than let's change the logo and then figure out if we're actually going to change anything below that high hanging fruit.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
A good example would be, I think I posted about it a week or something, would be Old Spice, because they went from grandpa's aftershave. I don't know if grandma uses it, but it was just old people's aftershave. But they changed it 180 degrees and made it fun and made it target a whole different age group.
Hmm. And that's what a rebrand is, where you
Yeah, for
completely
sure.
shake things up. Maybe could be a way.
Change perceptions.
Yeah, it all comes down to that perception. That's good. So I like to end the podcast with two kind of main questions. One will be on marketing branding. One will be a little bit off related, but kind of related to it. So the first question is, in the last 1 to 2 years, what is something, or longer, what is something you've changed your mind on in regards to marketing, branding, and business? I believed X, I now believe Y, or I believe X a little differently. Does anything come to mind?
Nothing big, to be honest, because people are, no matter how much we evolve and how many gadgets we have, we function the same. We function the same as we did 100 years ago. The way we make decisions and the way we act. So, no, I don't think. Because probably what changed is I grew as a brand strategist and migrating from tactics to strategy and understanding the why behind most things. and getting to
Hmm.
the root cause. That's the most important thing.
So you were more focused on the what before, and
Yeah, as
now
a
you're
graphic
starting.
designer before, just, you need a new logo? Bring it in. Here's the invoice. But do you really need a new logo? Because most of the
Mm.
time you don't.
So kind of asking questions, digging deeper now is a
Oh,
change
yeah.
in your behavior. Yeah, to your point, I agree. Most of what we do as humans is, food, sex, and there's a few things that we do. Like we're not that different than the cavemen or the apes running around the woods. I do think though, what for me is interesting is people who continually are open to kind of learning something new, relearning, saying, hey, I believe the Gary Vee content model. I thought it was a way, and now I believe that quality content is better than quantity. And just having an ability to sometimes say, like, I was wrong, which is kind of, seemingly what you're doing, where maybe you thought, hey, all I'm here to do is just do the X, whatever it is, logo X. Now I'm meant to kind of dig deeper and really see, do we need it? Is there something else we should do? Which is, I think, the biggest change is action based rather than just in our minds. We can change a lot, but
Oh,
when we start acting
absolutely.
different. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. The final question, my most interesting question that I like to hear from people is, what is one thing you do outside of business, marketing, branding that actually helps you do marketing, branding, business better? So it's not it's not like writing, it's not doing design or anything, but something you do outside of it all that then helps you do your job better.
Oh, I do a lot of stuff that just unplugs me from work, like gardening or hiking.
Hmm.
I need to step away from it to come back with a fresh perspective and a clear mind.
So
Otherwise, we can
gardening,
get stuck in
hiking,
a loop. Yep.
those are so something outdoors, it seems a little bit outdoor
Yeah,
based
mostly outdoors.
for you.
Yeah. If I'm at home, I'm anywhere within 10-meter radius of my computer. I'll find something to work.
I feel you. So you got to totally distance from it to allow the
Yeah.
brain, the mind to kind of maybe figure things out or kind of put things in different
Yeah.
places. So
And
then when you come
sleep
back,
on it and yeah, come back the next day.
no, that's good. So was gardening just like or do you like do that frequently, or was that just kind of like an answer of something you do here and there, or are you a frequent gardener?
I'm a frequent now, since
What do
COVID, we moved to the countryside.
you,
Why not
what
take
do you,
advantage of it?
yeah, what do you plant? What do you garden, quote unquote?
Yeah, we planted like 100 fruit trees and we
Wow.
have a vegetable garden. It keeps us busy
Do you, I'm
and in
guessing
shape.
you, yeah, I'm guessing you actually reap the fruit, quote, like you actually, then eat it and it saves you the trip to
Yeah,
the
just
grocery
share with
store.
friends and family. Or you don't sell
Awesome.
it.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't have a house or anything, so I don't have my own lawn or any. You could do indoor, I guess, gardening, but that's been something I've. There's been a lot of like talk or things I've read on like having your hands in the soil and it's just good for you. So I've thought about it and it's cool you brought it up. Maybe it'll be a push for me to actually do that sometime soon. Start gardening. That's cool. Well,
Yeah, it's funny.
Dragos, I go on if you had something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's so much like business. You gotta have patience. You can't make that plant grow faster. Do what you need to do. You know what you need to do. Do it right and wait for the results.
Mm. Yeah, it goes back to your whole point about the growth kind of obsession. You can't really, no matter how much you
Oh,
obsess
yeah.
over the tree
It's
growing,
crazy.
it's going to take its own time. And that's a huge lesson that the 2 to 3 people listening hopefully take away and apply to their business, their marketing, is that it takes time. But like you said, you got to do the right things and just have, faith in the process that it'll work itself out. Awesome. Well,
That's it.
thank you. Thank you for coming on the show, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you for
this.
having me.
I appreciate your time. And I guess before I get us off here, do you have anything you want to? I think you have like a newsletter. Do you have anything you want to plug to the? Like I said, 3 people listening. Anything you want to share with them to go check out?
Yeah, just you can find me on LinkedIn, and that's where I'm mostly at.
You do a lot. Yeah, you post pretty much daily, which is great
Yeah,
content.
and
Engaging, I feel. Not just
and you'll
plain.
find everything there in the
That you got.
newsletter, and you can pick my brain. Feel free to do it.
Not literally, but yeah, you get what he's saying. Pick
Yeah.
his brain. No, I'm just kidding. Well, thank you again for coming on the show, and I will include some links. Well, one link to your LinkedIn in the show notes. So thank you again, man.
Thank you.
And this is the end of the podcast.